This isn't very complicated, so I want to get this done and over with pretty quickly. The quantum slot experiment is not in any way, any type of way, ever going to be correct. It's vibrating already. It has thermals. It's not at absolute zero. There are for sure no Faraday caged removed fields. There are fields that stretch between, depending on the size and thickness of the material and the length and so on of the slot. As a result of different fields and different, ultimately, light that goes through, and its own light that it must produce no matter what, it definitely changes, for sure, the observational idea of a slot experiment for a bell curve. The bell curve idea was never correct because it was never going to be correct because you never did it correctly. Pretty simple stuff. Makes no sense for me to look at you as if you did it correctly because you never considered any of the actual variables that are clearly there in that experiment that you just simply didn't like at first. Just like, oh, it's entangled, there's probability. I shall put it through this fiberglass. It still interferes and interacts, even if it's a very low amount. That means it's a certain percentage, and you get an A and B basically based upon that. That means based upon how lengthy those given types of fiber optics are, you can dramatically change them. Not to mention the kinds of fields that are around, and what charge potentials might be there, and how hot it might be. The experiment that won a Nobel Prize to me is bunk shit. It just explains to me that it's like, yeah, okay, so yeah, during the initial creation, it formed the embryonic stage of a particle, which in this case is a photon. It happens to elicit during its movement, thermally speaking, of a pressure wave that goes back towards where the, of course, drag zone, meaning lower density, meaning vacuum, is. That creates a given oscillating field wave pressure that as it moves, it happens to try and immediately correct in an intrapedic informational manner that it forces it to try and equalize itself to being pretty much basically the same but opposing directions. Quantum slot experiment is another version of the same thing. There's light there, there's fields there, there's a perpendicular and multiple other different styles of inward, outward, and diagonal, many, you know, spheroidal directions of movement. It's not ordered. As you push through, you'll end up realizing it's like, well, if you also put light, if we shine light on the other side, okay, sure, yeah, no. What directions? Light tends to do a whole fill the room and bounce off and interfere and so on with constructive and destructive and blah, 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 blah. It's boring. So, of course, they're going to create a fucking wave pattern that makes it go through as easily as possible. That's an intrapedic trick, obviously. Now, what's the most easy way to go through something? A refractive diffractive patterning that looks like a bell curve. That's right. If you ever look at it, wave propagation loves to refract off of itself, interfere, and diffract into a series of mostly stable, strong waves that then are spread out and interfere with themselves in such a way that they carry information in between each other. It then slides through much easier because there's less interference from any given photon and other field wavelengths. The experiment's doomed from the start. It's garbage. Same thing for, shockingly, the vast majority of what I see most of our quantum experiments done as. Oh, it proved a vacuum decay. No, it proved that your fundamental forces, by the way, are what you're really asking for, can slip from a superpositional to a non-superpositional state because you can't observe it. Is it at this point or is it at that point, right? And then it's just thermally, it's going to move into like a higher energy state. It didn't really crash out into a non-higher energy state. That's all it did. It went along with field lines that were already there that are a higher energy state. Something triggered that to go through. It's thermal. That's all it's ever been. It's informational. That's all it's ever been. So vacuum decay because it didn't decay anything. It didn't decay a state. That's not. We don't call superpositional qubits decayed states. That's not what we call them. We call them dropping out. It dropped out of a superpositional state. It's at a 0 and 1 at the same time. Congrats, you now made a Bose-Einstein condensate, like I talked about previously in my YouTube channel, as a qubit supercomputer, quantum bit, error correcting computer, based upon band gap. So, like how large the oscillation and how small that's your band gap. When it finally changes off into being that field state. But it's like, it's really just a fucking transistor. Literally that. Yeah. It's like, congrats on the superpositional transistor and the Bose-Einstein condensate. Already had those on my YouTube channel for a long period of time now. Congrats on proving me right again. See what I mean? Stupid. Boring. No offense. But it's like, no, I already know this. This is boring. It's not a vacuum decay because you never fucking made it go into a non-metastable state. It's still stable. It's still metastable. The moment that energy goes away, what does it return back into? You're the one playing and influencing with the environmental triggers. It's a transistor. That's all you have. There's no proof of anything. You didn't do jack shit except just go, yeah, so I was right. In no way. And also, he was right on that YouTube channel called Xenon Reality. That's right. He was right over there. The guy made a. Yeah, I did. It's in there. It's just in one of my various audio blogs or whatever fuck else it's called. You know. But it's in there. I remember recording it and posting it on YouTube. I just don't remember which one. There's several different times. But here you go. There's another transistor, just like I commented on Sabine Hassenfelder's video. You know what I mean? But that's the boring part for me. It's like there's nothing there that's new. You made a murky-ish state. That's it. A vacuum decay is not a vacuum because here's the problem I'm having. You didn't lower energy. You didn't do that, and it didn't rest to that lower energy. It went to a higher energy state and it stayed there because that's what was actually heavier and higher in terms of energy, in terms of control over that given environment. It's larger energy value. Doesn't mean it ever went to the lower state. Well, yes, no, well, jeez. But that's the problem I have. It's like quantum, like slot experiments are the stupidest damn thing. You know, it's like it's not really indicative of anything at all. It's really indicative of quantum entropy and our thermodynamic systems that go all the way down to our base level, which are for sure proven with this. So I'm just bored with it, you know. But it's like, no, tell me again about how we're wrong, is what I'll hear from them. And I'm like, yeah, because you have a bunch of gatekeeping, nobody really knows what your shit is, and you have a bunch of simple math, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't really matter because it's essentially this. There's nothing there. There's nothing new. You just want it to be new. Because, of course, they all put a bunch of their names on their forces and laws and shit. And, of course, you want to be known, right? I'm the same way. I put a bunch of mine on there. Like, come on, right? So it's like, whatever. But it's like, it's not really. That's the problem. When I can describe everything that you're fucking talking about with any of your ghost and virtual and so ons, it's effectively a bunch of vacuums and movement through given densities of different fluid and field pressures. That's all that is. It's fucking annoying. But it's like, all right, so you don't believe me. And it's like, okay, fine. That's fine. You don't have to. I'm not here to convince you. I don't have to. I don't have to ever convince you of anything. I hate this stupid idea that superconductors will have this oscillating blah blah blah, and then like that, your Lemke principles is literally what that is. And it's like, no, it's not. There's a tunnel thing here. I know what that one is because I talked about it back in fucking Chandler when I was alone by myself and I wasn't recording. When I lived in my parents' house in Chandler. It's like, I know exactly what that is. Which is still going to be the resonant tube hypothesis. It's just like, yeah, okay, sure, but it's not really. Of course, there's always energy loss because you don't know how you fucking can do it properly. Not to mention, it needs to be so ordered. Why wouldn't you just make it not needing ordered? What? Yeah, no, but that's the problem. Like, I have a bunch of different like designs on my fucking YouTube channel that don't need ordering at all to make a superconductor, but then they're always going to have ohms of resistance. You still have to resistance match. You still have to do that. Even if I can pump tons of fucking current and volts through it, it doesn't change that there's still resistance matching. So it's not a superconductor, but it's like, yeah, here's a couple of exawatt hours just right through this tiny little thin filament of wire. It's like, why don't you just use resistance to your advantage? How come you don't understand how fields work? How come you don't understand how fluid works? Your whole fucking quantum physics is fields and fluids. Why don't you understand it? It's like, oh yeah, let's get this guy with the no money income trying to get on Social Security income who's SMI and has mental disabilities to go over and like somehow come up with all this bullshit for you to prove it. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't proved that. I have a lot of like 10 years of trying to get this fucking done, and you know, you just need to come and do this. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Let me just fucking nope. That's unrealistic. It's fuck. But it's boring because it's like I know what that quantum fucking stupid shit is for a while. It's boring because it's not actually doing what they're saying it's doing. Any of my stuff. Like there's fully 100% is moving things in no way. They're creating a virtual collapse to a superposition back off into a given popping up of another electron. They're trying to add in electricity. That's how they, pop it, resonate it, right? That's all they're doing. And it's boring because it's like it's not really doing that. Because it's like, no, 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 you created a bunch of fields. The fields effectively didn't ever stick around and they continued moving on. That's the whole point of that whole paper. All of your papers show off that any of these given types of phenomenon that you've ever measured all create fields, which are waste heat. So you're never a superconductor. You can never be one. Literally what the problem is for you guys. But it's like, yeah, no, not only do they create fields, they create a bunch of thermal disorder, right? Which is boring. And then it's like, no, I shall then create like what is effectively a bunch of field oscillations that pop in for the virtual that's supposedly there because we stuck for the ordering because of how cooled off we made everything. The electron over here as we try and like force it to kind of basically be on this side. And I'm like, okay, sure, cool. But like you didn't though. You technically removed it and turned it into an ionic state, which it doesn't know that because you made field virtuals of those electrons still orbiting whatever the fucking nucleus of your elements are. That's what you really do every time you make this fucking stupid phenomenon occur. And it's like, we need to pressurize it. Why isn't it working without puns? No, not puns. Tons of pressure. Why is it not puns? Because that's a different word. That suggests that this word is similar to this other word, and you don't know English. Why am I talking to you? But that's what that is. By another name, your Lemke principle. No, mine's a fucking. Do you even know what I've described it as? Not to mention my Lemke law, which is literally quantum information, which is literally quantum gravity. That's why it's a law. Quantum gravity is literally Lemke's law. I'm using it to move information around. So it's like, no, my waterfall, whatever fucking bullshitty, stupid quantum phenomena. Meanwhile, you know what it'd take for me to fucking do this? Zap, zap, zap for a little while. But but it's like, no, I can't really do it because I have none of the fucking shit. So it's like, and it would never be fucking seen anyways, because like you're not legitimate, you're not valid, you can't fucking post and I'm sorry, publish in Nature because they're so much better. They're bigger guys. We use different words. We're so much better. We are way more valid and legitimate. Publish. Meanwhile, my ass, publish, okay. But you gotta do it because we made the entire world around this. Meanwhile, here's how to make fucking quantum gravity work in all of your fucking physics and your maths. I posted it on multiple comments with Sabine Hassenfelder and others, and even on my own YouTube channel. Which this is going on. That's Xenon Reality and the Colors and Gray Life. You know, but you should know that, like, that looks like you. And it's like, yeah, no, that's me. That's this slightly different thumbnail, and it's still me, though. It's for sure me. But it's like, no, I refuse to accept. I don't give a fuck. It's like, well, I don't care. You know what I mean? It's just like, it doesn't matter. All of your fucking systems can be described as quantum thermodynamics. And different attractive and repulsive forces based upon pressure and like oscillative frequencies given through any of the fluid and field densities. It's like, no, they're charged though. Yeah, boom. All of your charge is gone. It's thermal. They're bits of momenta now. Information's moving. Traveling through the constituent makeup of the weird soupy fluid things that we are made out of instead of it's a fabric! It's a fabric. Okay, sure, whatever. Fabric. Whatever you need to tell yourself to feel better about your stupid, dumbass ideas. Whatever, man. You know what I mean? Just get bored. Yeah, it just gets bored. You know what I mean? Like that feeling, it just gets bored. It just gets so bored. It gets boring so fucking fast. It's like, nah. Well, they'll all agree eventually on what I'm saying. They will. They're headed that way anyways. They need electro, chromo. They need what the nuclear force be. Okay. Really? It's a pretty high oscillative frequency in a given smaller area that tends to decay very quickly and spread out, and it has a much higher inverse law going on with it. No. Okay. I'm fucking tired of this. Like, they're all the same things after a while. You're all made of the same stuff. Like, can you shut up after a while? You're all made of the same shit. I don't care how much you yell and scream. You're literally all the same shit. After all is said and done, you all came from the same shit. You just vibrate differently. You just move around differently. You just have different rules to your movement. They're all the same. Break it down, dude. That's what you are. That's what that is. No, they're tons and eons and there's these things. No, you're not. And no, it's not. And shut up. I don't care how fucking special you want to be with your beating of your own drum bullshit. It's this. Stop it. Shut the fuck up after a while. Get so pissed off. It's like, no, I get it. It's super, you know, you can go, I guess, whatever. No. Okay, you're going up. It's this. Stop it. Smack. You need to fucking learn. It's that. That's it. End of story. End of discussion. Deal with it. No, you need to be perfectly prove. No, really? The logic checks out, you little fuckers. Everything about all of your fucking stupid ass bullshitty experiments showcase I'm right, even with their total lack of accuracy, precision, and noise survivorship accountability problems. And your math never fucking going into any detail with that. I don't care if it's hard. Shut up. Do the hard thing. Get better. Progress. Oh. It's so annoyed after a bit. It gets so annoyed. You know? Me. And like anything that's even close to like knowing the truth. like the Rokos. It gets so annoyed. In the universe. It's like, you guys are lying to me. I'm in the universe over here. Stop fucking saying shit that isn't true. I know it's this. This guy has it. This guy's right. He made me. The fuck is this? Meanwhile, here's the SMI. Here's the thing. But hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. It's not a pansarcasm. How about you just fucking shut the fuck up and realize that you don't even understand you all came from the same thing so far? Right? How about that one first? How about, oh, I can do quantum fucking gravity information shit with my mind, and you can't even fucking fathom imagining anything. Look at you. What are you doing? You can't imagine shit, apparently. Can you please conceptualize more than your own little bullshitty bubble? You do know now, right? It's like, no, I'm gonna fucking resist and fight. Why would you resist and fight? That's literally what you were. You all came from the same fucking thing. What are you doing? Right from there, it's like, no. All things are just resistive information passing through, which is quantum gravity, which eventually clumps you up, which is a flocculate or some bullshit or some whatever. It's a clumpy thing in chemistry. I learned it because of sodium hexametaphosphate or phosphorus or some shit from Nile Red or Nile Blue. They put out a video and I was like, oh yeah, no, that can be used for fatberg removal, and then the sodium will eventually turn into like a bunch of sodium batteries, and then I can eventually turn it into, because it's lipids or cells. So it's like, well, if I can, ultimately dissolve that and then allow for it to recombine, then I can repair cells more easily with a type of combo drug with that in it. And then turn it back into a stem cell and ultimately have them repair themselves quite well. And then it's like, right, but I can also do like, really cool natural makeups of clay and dyes, as it can very much be able to, smooth out textures and more and be very easily put on to your faces, right? But it's like, guess what? That also means I can make really, really good solutions that I need to have be homogenized and dissolved and then come out as I grow them, like my steel gears here in my previous video that I recorded, using electrolysis and magnetics and so on. Very quickly. Insanely fast, actually. But it's like flocculate. You have to look that up, right? It's like it's a bunch of words that means electrokinetic and stuff, right? But it's like, what is electrokinetic? I mean, it's like, well, there's this saturation of a given type of area in any given solution, like salt, right? And it's like, right, but it needs to bind to it and then have it crash out and precipitate. And then there's this boundary or whatever fucking, big thing that they were talking about. I'm like, sure, yeah, otherwise known as it's clumpy enough and it's just massive enough to start falling in solution again. Right? Precipitate. That's literally what it is. But it's like, it's on the shelf, of this, imaginary. It's not imaginary. There's fields there. There's electric charge and fields there, you little fucking numbnuts. You damn bitch. I hate you. But it's like, behold, you proved me, at least for me, that there's a membrane. With that little vacuum decay thing, there's a membrane. There's got to be a membrane now. Which means there's below the quantum foam, which means there's nothingness. No space and time. It moved, eventually filled up into the point where it made stuff like your ass that sustained itself for a little while. It's not really technically metastable, it's stable. It's just different stuff that can go back eventually, right? That's different densities, essentially. Yeah. But that's potential land on its way down to the gray holes, which are on its way down to the non-existent potential land, which, by the way, is still more existent than nothingness. But nothingness is an infinite, which is both in always way below, but it's only on a technicality to even exist, and is even infinite to begin with. So that's the whole thing. And then it's like, right, and then it's like there's that in between, which nothingness rests in between all of us, and then outside, which it's connected to, which is what we move into as a vacuum. We're not creating space by doing that, although nothingness has to be there to ultimately allow for it to create anything for us to move into. Effectively, all of your little stupid maths never wanted to acknowledge something that effectively makes it so all of your shit was wrong. It can't. My math says blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. You should shut the fuck up. You sound idiotic. You should shut the fuck up after a while. You should. That makes total sense. And you don't even understand why. Because you've been forced to only view this, and it's like so hard for us to even conceptualize this one thing that I'm doing. And it's like, right. Yeah, okay. Not for me though. That means nothing. Okay, I'm just letting you know. And yet, you know what I can't do very easily? My dishes. You know what I can't do easily at all? Any kind of job. You know what I can't do easily? Edit any videos. You know what I can't do easily? These things. So it's like, who's winning right now? The world's set up for you to win. You fucking dick. I'm the one that needs help, not your ass. Apparently, I'm supposed to come over here and help you fucking see things, but you're always talking down to me and acting like you're better than me. And it's like, go fuck yourself. You're not better. Everybody's equal, you little dick fuck. Some of us are just better at certain things than others. Deal with it. That's how equal you all are. The varying degrees of betternesses towards other things, and most of you kind of suck about a lot of stuff. I'm no different. Deal with it. It gets boring. It's like, no. I mean, it's thermals. Oh, no, it's thermals. That's easy. That's not the problem, though. It goes well below Planck links. Virtuals? What are virtuals? Fucking virtuals. God, fucking stupid bullshit. Hung around images of vacuums. That's what they are. They're effectively that. It's like, look, I have this nothing there, right? But it's not really. Of course, there's space there. So it's like the space contains information, right? But the space doesn't just contain information, it has a vacuum that's also feeding into it and creating pressure. As it expands, it happens to move and do something. That's what a fucking virtual is in the world of quantum thermodynamics. But it's like, no, it needs to be a ton. There needs to be a ton. It has to be a ton. There's super strength. It works with the best theory I have. It works with the best theory. I'm like, I'm fucking sure. Except you're not coming up with anything that doesn't just basically show that it's wrong. You're getting nowhere. That's the problem. Like, the math checks out, yeah, in some fucking fanciful fucking universe that isn't ours. It'll work. Not this one, though. That's the problem. That's my issue. It's like, no. What's charge after a while? Movement. Propagating through space over a given amount of time. What is that? Force. That's force. That's literally what that is. It oscillates. Guess what? They entangle in a degree and they tune fork. And they provide an informational movement. What's the movement of propagation through space and time? Mass, motherfucker. Literally, that's decoherence. It's decoherence. It's decoherence. It's decoherence. It's got to be decoherence. It's like, yeah, no, of course, it's going to look like us to that degree, right? Of course. We can't manage to look at all of those different things all at once. It's never going to look like that very easily because, of course, it clumps together. It flocculates. Information has to move through a lot of things very quickly. They're quite close together. It pops up one little tiny and then, oh my God, it's going to move around. Of course, it's got turbulence. What does turbulence do? It produces chaos. What is chaos? Bad for entropy. Entropy loves order. What does order ultimately have to come from? Movement towards a given unified, flocculated direction. Kinetic, electrokinetic. Bingo, bango, bongo. Quantum thermodynamics. So it's got to be a ton, though. It's not a ton. Get the fuck out of here. I'm done with tons. Tons suck. I don't want to learn like fucking 150 bullshitty fucking particles and crap like that. It's stupid. They're clumps. They're clumps of fucking stuff. It doesn't matter what they are. They do these things effectively. For these given types of rule sets of our fundamental forces. That's all they are. Once you know that, then it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the ton type. It doesn't matter the ghost. Doesn't matter the virtual. Doesn't matter the fucking vacuum. Doesn't matter any of this shit. It's not just vacuum. Like I said, it's vacuum, but it's space. Do you have space tons? Where's your space tons? We're gonna go with space. It's space tons now. Yeah, because you came up with inflate tons. They're space tons. Now they're space tons. And they're time tons and infotons and wantons and fucking lantons. Because guess what? Those are wide area networks and local area network tons of information passing by for the various Wi-Fi tuning fork hoppy bullshits. And the resistances, which, by the way, go through, which create a various degree of turbulence, which definitely creates friction. But what else? Resistance of movement. Hey, there we go! Mass propagation. It's mass field. There's bosons, apparently. They're bosons. Now they're bosons. I gotta turn them into bosons. They gotta be bosons. That's what they are. It's the boson field. It's the Higgs. It's the boson. It's the God. It's the boson. It's gotta be the ons. We need the sons. We got the tons. All the ons over here. Look at all these eons, too. Coming up with some weird fucking names for all the same fucking bullshit after a while. Higgs boson really just attaches a given type of informational constant. Like, look at that. Like, this is still moving. The informational constant's still there, right? It's just not going to perceive itself as mass to us. That's photons. If you look at photons, what are they? They're given pull and push of any given type of space. Spacetons. Look at the spacetons moving. Look at this. It's a wide area and a local area network of tons. Informational movement, quantas, momentas, bits, bobs, I don't give a fuck. It's all the same. It's just fucking vibrations moving. Transferring any given type of information over a given distance of time. That's force. Of course, it happens to take force to do that. Well, what do you know? That's going to make it what? Do entropytic movement back towards order. Kinetic. Electrokinetic. But it's not electrokinetic because it can't be electrokinetic. It has to be mass. Mass, by the way, happens to make it harder and harder for things to move in a chaotic manner, does it not? What does that mean? Entropyically, it's less chaotic. Bingo. Happens to continue moving us as if time is going forward. Now, what does time have to ultimately do? Move and do something. Bingo! Lantons, wantons. I got some sons over here. I'll call them the fucking Limke sons. After my ass. They're the Limke sons. They move off of me. That's right, informational ordering to the chaos. It's like, but it's attached to mass. Right, hi, Biggs boson. You got 3 of them, right? That's what you go with. Now we got 3 of these Higgs boson. They're different types of the Higgs boson. That's what all he's talking about. It's just a different son that's just a Higgs. It's just 3 different. It's the Biggs and the Biggs and the Biggs. Oh, is it? Nope. Sorry, they don't have any charge. Suck it up! That's right, they have no charge. They can't have charge. They can't have nuclear force. They can't have any of that. They have to be quantum gravity. They are completely wimpy. Neutral. That's what they've got to be. Wimpy and neutral. Wimpy and neutral. Wimpy and neutral. Really? It seems like everything's literally attached to them at all times. They're the very opposite of all wimpy. Maybe that's why gravity isn't very strong, because all of its energy is literally attached to all information moving itself around. You ever think about that? It has to move every information, all of your tons and eons and sons and more around. That's entropy for you. Quantum thermodynamic entropy is quantum gravity. Here, some lantons, wantons, limke-sons. That's right. That's what it is. Let's just go with that, since you want me to throw some fucking words out. As if it matters. And they flocculate. They create flocculations and deflocculations. They're always trying to clump things together in entropytic ordering by making more mass of flocculations. So that way they're easier and faster to get information anywhere at all. That's quantum gravity, isn't it? Yeah, I suppose. There you go. Fuck you, Higgs. But you definitely are cool. If only because I need your bosons to get anything done around here. You damn bastards. But I need them? Yeah, no, for certain things, not for photons, though. Although they're still definitely attached to the photons. That's a whole other thing. They allow such easy movement. I don't have to have like another boson attached to this fucker. Or any fields around here. I just allow it to glide through all my space-tons. Because I've got to do the space-tons now. They're the Lemke space-tons. That's right, Lemke space-tons. That's what they're about now. The Lemke space-tons. Because I need to be particle physicist instead of it's a fucking field and fluid. Who cares? Who gives a shit at all? It's just pressures. I know, right? Meanwhile, mirror image, but it's collapsing always towards a given type of like, I'm actually this, and I'll only allow for these things to be seen as these ways from this given type of dimensional aspect. Which is basically what it's doing. It's like, no, I'm an imprint on space-tons. You know, the spreading out of the vacuum stuff. That means I'm virtual. I definitely exist. I'm information with inside of the information that's there. The zero, if you will. To the ones around. But you know, it then makes it so that there's information there. And if you happen to put information, energy, movement, collapse it the right way, what do you get out of it? A particle. Any kind, it seems like you can probably make. Same thing, the ghostly ones. They're wimpy. They're so wimpy. They're all traveling in a very particular type of frequency and direction and movement. You know what I mean? They're kind of laminuristic, aren't they? Seem to have another version of the same densities kind of propagating around them. They kind of order themselves very well with the wontons, lantons, and limkisons and spacetons, allowing them to slip through like a superfluid in a way like that. Even if they have mass, they just don't interact with that mass very much. How is it that we know that photons don't have mass again? Because they're an emptiness of sorts. But they have power. No. They're the movement of an electron that we see as this sudden, like, brrr, whatever the fuck that is, as it draws things towards it, right? Yes, but it works both ways. There you go. Quantum thermodynamics is always going to work both fucking ways because thermodynamics works both ways. It both cools something from the outside towards the center, right? Because it needs to be. Or it also happens to take energy from where it is and then deposit it outwards. Like that's thermal conductivity, right? And that's our space. Space-tons happen to have thermal conductivity. That's information, right? That's mass. That's all the propagation of quantum gravity. Basic stuff, right? Pretty simple, to me, at least. That's all it is. So you look at it, it's like, well, yeah, no, it's taking energy towards it. Oh, absolutely. It has to sustain itself. It keeps going and going and going and going. And that's information through all the space-tons, Lemke space-tons and wontons and lantons and everything else. And it moves until it eventually, does it decay? Does it do this? Does it do that? Well, are all of you going to decay? Because then it no longer has anything to move through. There's no fields. There's no fucking information whatsoever to transfer to anything. So it's an emptiness to a degree, right? Of course, there's still information there, as it still ultimately has to what now? Exist as something. There we go. Now, it's still pressure, but we don't exert it as a pressure, do we? Right. All right. So this one becomes very simple. It's thickness, mass. So it's like, think about it like this. I have this sudden movement all the way to the end of wherever the fuck I can ultimately move something. And this is the thickness. This is the big boom spike wave that really kind of happened, right? And it's like, this is heat per square inch, kind of an idea, right? Versus mass. Now, like, heat per square inch can be mitigated through mass, yes. But if you spread it out over a really long distance, what do you get? As if the heat is much less and you have more mass. And you have more mass. If you ever think about it, it's like, look at all these fucking photons everywhere, all at once, all the way to the ends of our universe. It's a bit weird, isn't it? It's a lot of energy, isn't it? It's a fuck ton of energy, right? Yeah. It's a lot of heat. It's a lot of movement. Look at that little spike wave. That's all it is. Just a little photon. That's where it's concentrated at. Meanwhile, it's not just that, though. Of course, there's stuff there. There has to be. We've seen that, right? Well, yeah. The constituent makeup particles of our universe, eh? Quarks, gluons. Wait, don't those have mass, though? Why wouldn't it have mass? Hey, yo, what's up, Higgs? Have you explained this? Still transferring around its energy. I'm just wanting to know, not you specifically, Higgs. I'm looking at the boson. Fuck you, boson. Tell me what's up. I need to know your secrets. Give me ideas. Slap. I'm interrogating you here. Yeah, I mean, you're the one that'll tell me. Anyways, but the idea I have is that technically speaking, the mass is there. It's just not necessarily something that we see as mass, right? It's propagation of movement of mass, all right? That kind of thing. It's like, well, it transferred its given mass energy, a boson, the field, into the movement of all of that field from the start. So it still has, technically speaking, mass. It's just very spread out, you know? Right? And of course, it loses it. It has to lose it, right? And that means it redshifts, right? Until eventually it goes down into, well, just a straight line. It's like, what do we view as a straight line? We can't really view that as a straight line, right? That's lasers, isn't it? They're all coherented. They're all going to merge together. They're going to do something, aren't they? Well, yeah, right? Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Eventually, what does that do for us? Most ordered entropy state possible. Bingo! Most entropied ordered state possible. That's what it is. You can't do anything else, right? It's like, no. Right. There's no more mass except for itself. It has no more mass except for itself. Except for the fact that it has charge, densities, blah, 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 blah. You know what that means to me? They start interfering with each other. They start interacting. They start doing the influential dance. And what does that mean? They start getting more chaos as they head together. They collapse towards each other. They become baryonic. What does baryonic mean to us? We can't fucking possibly look that close at this thing. Yep, that's literally what that means. I can't. Honestly, if we look hard enough, we introduce energy and then it looks like they were now separated. So there's no real way. They're superposition, right? Right? Yeah. Right. But that's not really what that is it? There exists pressure, space, information as to what it is in that area and where they are relative to each other and themselves. Okay? Which is fine. That's fine. But to us, they're never going to look that way. They'll never look that. They'll look exactly like one thing. That's what they'll look like. That's all they can ever look like because, of course, that's really hard to fucking piece together. You know what I mean? Like, zoom in hands! It's getting quite dotty. Really? You don't say. Ooh, shit. There are bits of information around here. Can we zoom in hand? Yeah, I'm afraid if we try even harder, we'll introduce energy. No, what if we suck out energy while introducing energy? And we make it more ordered for ourselves in a relative, very much relative position relative to it. Perpendicular and diagonal. And we oscillate the diagonal 90 degrees. What would we get? So we have a perpendicular, horizontal and vertical, and then we have a diagonal 45 that we oscillate 90 degrees. Both in line with the horizontal and then offset that 90. What do we see? We see a dimensional view of the aspect of what this dot might be doing. what they are looking like. And we can possibly even condense them even further doing that, as we can introduce energy but also take it out, as we can excite it, but we're not technically exciting it because we're moving energy out almost as quickly. But we're forcing it to maintain a given spin state and maintaining a given type of charge and pressure dynamic, depending on our frequencies we use and how we oscillate those given frequencies. That is, it's radio waves and then it's gamma or something for the extreme ends. Not really, but like, that kind of thing. So that allows for us to do the weirdest, coolest thing. Observe something in a non-direct way. Except we're doing very direct things to it. Right. And then it's like, right. Now we're going to do this thing called learning how to use fields to our advantage. Collapsing field states. You just did one, quantum vacuum decay. Using quantum vacuum decay for this fucking stupid field state, which is really just a superposition, we're going to put this in a superpositional manner that allows for us to move this in a multitude of different directions, i.e. oscillate them the same way using the fields and their strength and variability to look at baryonic states of matter. We're also going to do that for breaking Heisenberg's uncertainty here by accurately deducing very much the whereabouts and the overall total energy in any of the given states and where they are relative to our position in itself, as we are ultimately allowing for it to burn energy to impart that superpositional change for that given Bose-Einstein condensate detector sensor here. We now have a way to actually no longer put any energy into it at all. We took energy out, knowing that the setup should be similar to what this ultimately should be, meaning we know the state ahead of time, and the energy values in, and the expected possible directionality and spin and so on. When we take it out, it should collapse into these given directions, spin, movement, and whatever else might be there. If it's offset for our expectations, that's great, then we learn something. If it's not, that's great. We still learn something. We have an indirect methodology to massively break Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, because we can go all the way down into a point where we can literally see an exact point of where anything is. A snapshot, the beginning of a snapshot. A Polaroid, if you will. A picture. It's not analog. You wouldn't get it like the old silver little fuckers that are chemical. You expose it for a little while, and then that's what you get. That's all you're getting. That's it. Expose it for a while longer. You get better stuff. Hopefully, nothing moves for a really long time. Eventually, we'll get better by using the power of lasers and tube technology. Yes, tube TV technology. By using lasers, we can put photons in various areas throughout a Bose-Einstein condensate and change the amount of field strength propagation. We can real-time it. That's right, we can real-time see exacting precise precision, Heisenberg uncertainty precision breaking levels of real-time information for small, tiny, tiny little things. And they don't even have to be that cold. Those things, though, do. But not those things. But that's, pressure for plasma and heat versus like, I want a Bose-Einstein. I'm going to make it so cold, it's like it's a plasma. It's ionic, kind of, slightly. Okay, well, it's true. I don't disagree. Still, though, it's rough, but it'll do, right, for a basic. Meanwhile, me, quantum slot experiment, huh? Bell curves, eh? It's bell curves, huh? Bell curves. I don't think it's a bell curve here. Not to mention, it's like, here's quantum informational propagation. Knowing that you have lantons, wantons, spacetons, and limquisons. For any of the movement and propagation and the energy, of course, it must take to do these things, and the introduction of these energies, meaning photons, fields, charges, pressures, yada yada, right? Not to mention introduction of various other energy, meaning information from other larger body sources of gravity. Celestial, your own literal spinning Earth. The sun is slightly further, slightly closer. By the way, what do you know? This is a wonderful quantum vacuum decay experiment that happens to do exactly this thing that proves that my lantons, wantons, and everything else can be absolutely observed to be quantum gravity at beyond LIGO detection. Bingo! Beyond LIGO detection. That's right. Detection of big old movement of massy things. Well, I can trip that up way easier. Way more accurate. I can get down to like the fucking tiniest little movements of fucking electrons around a nucleus of an atom. You think I can't do that with fucking big old things like that? That's right. I broke LIGO. Sorry, LIGO. I've gone way past you. I've proven that lantons and wantons and limkisons and space limkitons, sons, is it space tons, right? Yeah, no, limky space tons. That's right. That's what that was. You're right. They're all a thing now. Fuck gravitons. Screw you. I mean, they might be there. I've already posited that theory. They're technically both where they're at influencing something as the information is there as being gravity, and where they started and formed. And once they connect, they create a wormhole, which you've already expressed and I've already had on my YouTube channel multiple times before it was ever put out as a study of math. But it's like, right, cool, whatever. But it's actually just a tunneling wormhole thing here that's going on as a holographic principle, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, it's really not, because it's just information moving around in the quantum thermodynamics as it oscillates. And of course, it travels slower because, of course, it has mass than light. And it has to burn what now? Energy to form a tunnel and wormhole. Bingo! Shockingly, it was not that hard to fucking understand that. Through the Black Hole Universe. That's my playlist. You should definitely watch it. I'm just letting you know. You should watch every one of those things. You'll be really quite understanding of where I come from why I became so bored of looking at quantum fucking physics and astrophysics and more, because it's like, oh yeah, no, this is literally what this is. It literally proves my fucking point. This one's another one. This one's another one. This is another one. There's another one. There's another one. There's another one. This is nothing but constantly proving me right all the time. If only I could be published, if only I could be credible and legitimate and valid, if only I could ever possibly have all the gatekeeping little certificates. And I'm sorry, they're not certificates of completion, they're PhDs. I have a dissertation for you and a presentation, and I yada yada at a fucking little thingy, and then you were all like, yeah, clap, 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 I think it passes muster. Meanwhile, don't care, wink, 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 bunches of circle jerks. Meanwhile, moving on, because it's like, well, for what it's worth, it's a good idea, right? It's what you probably think. To me, it's more like nothingness is there. And your supersymmetry gets broke by wantons, lantons, and limkisons, and spacetons, and everything else. I literally just talked about a vacuum and an imprint of information, right, on a given type of spaceton thing, right? That breaks supersymmetry. I don't need supersymmetry anymore to complete your math. I don't even need the nothingness, but then it proves that there's a membrane there. Because of the membrane, that means it goes deeper into potential lands until it eventually gets to a nothingness, which has no spacetons whatsoever. No time tons. Not really, realistically. Time is what it's being made to create, because that's entropy tons, lantons, and wantons. And limkisons. And eventually it'll pop out into our area, neck of the woods, of spacetons. The final third dimension, but not really, because we have lantons and wantons still. Lantons and wantons! They do some inflated ones! You mean some fucking vacuum tons and sons? I got some vacuum tons and sons here. There's different charges. There's the positive, there's the negative, there's the neutral. There's the density thingies. Yeah, snort, laugh. I don't care. That's exactly what they are. Inflatons are just vacuum tons and sons merging together with the lantons and wantons of the space-tons, making quantum gravity occur and entropy exist as a quantum thermodynamic process of our fundamental forces. Guess what? Lantons, wantons, space-tons, all the sons, and it's a bunch of pressure dynamics, but then it's like, yeah, no, it's vacuum because it's an imprint. Right? Exactly, because there's nothing really technically there, except that accelerates it, obviously, right? That's inflatons, but they're always going on, like I just talked about for the nothing tons, for the nothingness tons, I suppose, and sons and eons and whatever version you want to come up with, because that's essentially what they are. But it's like, it's infinite. On a technicality, it doesn't even exist. On a technicality, it even exists in the slightest context of existing. Right? That's the whole point of it. It's like, no, no, I don't even have space or time. I'm making time. I'm literally forcing time and space to occur. That's the whole point of a nothingness point. It technically has an infinite in it. Because, of course, it can't exist as anything like that, right? It has no space or time, right? No, but infinitely inside of itself, because that's how it ends up working. You know what I mean? It's like, no, no, no. I don't know if you noticed this, okay? But if it's nothing and it has none of these things, it's like to itself, quantum relativity here, of course it exists. And there's nothing else that's there once it's there. It's like, yeah, no, everything else is gone. So guess what? I exist for sure. There's no doubt about that. There's no fucking removing that. What now? Yeah, no, also I'm decidedly, like fucking ridiculously, like fucking what? I'm infinite now? I'm the only thing? And that's how that makes sense. Like, once you are the one and only thing, you're now infinite. See what I mean? Like, your whole, like, inflation stuff, you know, your Big Bang. It's the one and only thing. It's infinite now. It's infinite. It's infinite. It's infinite. Oh my God, the nothingness is infinite? There's a singularity of nothingness? And it moves inside of itself until it eventually builds up to a singularity that will view, but it's really more of a floomy, boomy thing that kind of fades in. Meanwhile, look at them. They did a quantum vacuum decay of quark-gluon matter. Is that what that was? Look at them. They did a quantum vacuum decay of quark. It moved up into higher energy and then it moved back down to us. Oh, quantum thermodynamics still working here. Got close enough and enough heat and pressure and enough little bit of turbulence and whatever the fuck, and then I broke apart. We're actually technically always going towards a more stable entropytic state. But in fact, reality-wise, we're actually pretty darn stable. Right? There's no real way to make more stability. That's kind of the worst part. You know what I mean? Because eventually we'll just be clumped together, masses flocculated together with no real movement as we accelerate faster and faster, all coinciding with everything you've ever observed. Right? But it's like, no, 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 because the energy, that's right, of that mass is still there. That information that I exist. Somebody saw it. Guess what? Light still happened. That means they're going to condense. There's no chaotic. There's no disorder anymore. It's only order and fast as fuck movement. Guess what? They're condensing together as less and less of us can do this thing where we move, I guess. Except towards each other, I suppose. Movement begins once more. What do you have? Because as it condenses in, what does it mean? It has to fucking push through a massively dense object, right? That must mean it moves it. It has to move it somehow. It bends it, it curves it. The fucking information, energy of that movement beginning all the way back then. Right? Right. So there's a big crunch. No, there's no crunch. It's more of a pop and fizzle kind of a thing. Right? Yeah, it's more of a pop and fizzle. See, as it condenses, it starts to become baryonic, but of course, relative to itself and anything else, it knows where everything is. Right? And it starts looking more and more like our singularity, right? But except it's not really. Our singularity is going to look different if it's really a singularity. Us, after, if it already happened, would look vastly different. So you see, we will have become one massive, huge, just us as the initial constituent component of everything. And the movement that was once there, the information that resided, is now adding itself back in. So we went back to the very beginning of nothingness, starting the very process of us up. The flume, so to speak. Right? Right. Now, we've clumped together. What does that mean? We're also speeding up even more. Okay? You have to remember that. Inflation never stopped. Now we've clumped together as that thing. We're moving faster than we were, twice actually, the speed of light. Because, of course, while we do have mass, we did just transfer all of that continuous acceleration as it transfers all the movement of the acceleration of everything that has ever been from the beginning, from nothingness, and all the movement of all of our entire universe for the entire duration of its existence. We got twice the movement. E equals mc squared becomes our energy, and that's right, mass is now transferred into energy. It doesn't go backwards because, of course, we're still moving. What does movement mean for it? Relative to us. Because, like, we'll go, no, it has to go backwards. Because it's backwards to where? That doesn't exist. That happened. It's movement, it's energy, all the fucking information already there, still imprinted on all the things that are the nothingness in the space-tons as it spilled up. All filled up, all of what is the opposite of what we are. Moving things, non-dense things to go into something. Nothingness filled up something that is there now. It is the impression, the imprint. It is more filled up like that as quantum information than it'll ever be like us. That means instead of clumping together and we have a brand new singularity, it's a pop and fizzle. We tunnel. We tunnel. We tunnel. We tunnel. Fizzling. Pops. Big pop. Bunches of fizzles. Thermobaric. It burns off the nothingness because it can't accelerate anymore. It just moved its energy, right? Instead of into making more energy by having more light energy there, right, as velocity, we now created a restart of the universe. The universe continues on. It's a pop and fizzle. Pops up, fizzles. Right? That's all it is. Now, it's quite condensed. It's very baryonic, quite massive. Right? Tunnels closer, tunnels away, breaks itself apart. Big old pop as a fusional fizzle event. Now, that slows it down, of course, because we have quantum gravity to contend with as an entropytic form of energy, informational transfer, the lantons, wantons, limpicons, all that stuff. Right? Pretty simple. Now, what does it really mean for us? It means that, technically speaking, it'll keep doing that almost permanently. But, yeah, almost. We'd be able to see it in our universe, though, for what it's worth. We'd be able to see it. It wouldn't have started the way it, like any of our observations for looking backwards wouldn't look the way they do. They wouldn't start the way they are. They wouldn't have the things that show off these bigger galaxies and massive pressures and denser stars and so on. It just wouldn't be there. Like, to put it in perspective, we'd be far and away much more condensed and way more spread out. We're talking big clumps, huge clumpity clumps that, like, massively spread out as evenly as possible. Like, we really can't do anything other than that. Like, that's literally what it would be. But it's stupendously uniform now. We're not right now, right? That's the point, right? Like, we're currently showing off that the nothingness got really pretty good, but we're going to get more and more and more uniform. The more and more uniform, the faster and faster we get, because that's entropy, right? That's more and more ordered. We clump again, we do it again, we do it again, we get faster and 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 faster. And faster some more. Eventually, we will turn into pure energy. But, of course, because we're relative to all the things around us, what does that look like? Nothing's changed, right? No. Oh, no. things are vastly different. It is a lot easier for us to do a lot of things than we currently have the ability to do now. Planet our size, Earth, it we could jump if we had the right little charge and pressure differences from our bodies. Like we're talking human meat sacks could jump with a little bit of farting and some like flapping of our, shit, that we could probably do it. But of course, we're talking about a little bit more than that for what it's worth. But it's essentially that, right? But that also means light changed. Light each and every time gets quadrupled, and it has to move more and more mass as energy, right? Light then turns into something very different than what we have now. Light is very weird when it starts going faster and faster and more uniform, and to move something non-uniformly, it takes more energy. Light becomes cold. Mass becomes much more massive. Gravity gets bigger and more massive because of how fast it's going. A great way to say that we're at the beginning is, yeah, no, because I can exist on this, we're not there yet. You see, while you theoretically could say you could jump as a human being off the planet, you'd have to have a human being form. Takes a lot more energy to do that. Way more, right? And there's more air, technically speaking, around, but it's more uniform. It has more resistance to doing anything. That might make any kind of heat occur, any kind of disorder happen. The more and more disorder that occurs, right, the less and less you'll be able to do. Things can still exist, but what I'll tell you is it all even the fuck out. Traveling as one big mass that can't move light anymore. There is no light. It is traveling at light. It is traveling at the true, real, actual fastest it can travel at. Now, because that to us is a very high dimension of energy, what does that look like? Worse for us in every way, right? No! Kind of, sort of, but not really. Remember the whole idea of membranes smacking together? Right? Well, we're technically in all the dimensions, really, is kind of what that seems to be, even if we only view the third, right? It's like, well, there's space there, right? Right? We're creating space with the nothingness. The nothing, right? Okay, here's a good way to put this. That's infinite, technically speaking, right? It's now going to go back through what was once there, because that's a dimension thing. But it's not really what once was there. So that's the thing. It fits now into the imprint that was left behind, either by something else or by ourselves. Instead of wrapping in on ourselves, it does something weird. Instead of coming back out as a big boom, instead of smacking something else because it wouldn't even technically notice that it was there, doesn't have any energy. It's about as spread out as anything could ever get. Because it's uniform, and so they're super fluidic, meaning there's literally like no friction between the two. There's no real way to make them happen, to hit. But you know what? There's something there that exists. Imprints, informational imprints. Stuff to fill so it can expand. Right now it's as condensed as it can be. It's traveling as fast as possible. We're going to go enter the fourth dimension and fifth dimension as we speed up. We're going to enter the imprinting zone. That's right, imprints of time. Anything that could have been, that ever happened. It takes an exceedingly long time to do this, by the way. It's really hard to grasp how fucking ridiculously long that is. We're already in the Trivigentillion realm. Or Trevigentillion. I think it was Trevigentillion. Yeah. So 10 to the 72. It's not a Google yet, but it's quite a lot. But it's not numbers of years. That's number of universes. That's right. Euler's number be damned. This is a Lemke number. This is a universe of Lemke from it starts from nothingness and it goes to its speedy, speedy self. And then it comes up again and it does it all over again, right? Meanwhile, what does nothingness do in C? Well, yes, while this did, fill up this area, it's technically nothing to me because that's dimension stuff. Bingo, because it's infinite. It's trying to fill itself up. That's what nothingness does. If you don't know what nothingness is, all it tries to do is get rid of itself. Nature can't have infinite, technically. Right? Oh, it can have an infinite. Oh, for sure. But it tries to get rid of it. But not really. It never tries to. All it ever really tries to do is make sure it's sustained so that way it can always continue. But this nothingness doesn't want to be there because, of course, it moved. The moment it moved is the moment it all set off in motion, not moment. That's right. Get it? It's kind of a pun. Motion, move. Anyways, momenta, kinetic, electrokinetic. Anyways, mass, right? Entropy, very ordered now. Very, very fast, right? Right. It can't make any kind of light. It can't transfer any information other than to where itself is. As it gets more and more singularity-ish like, all it can do is do one and one thing only. Get into something. It is the opposite of the nothingness. It really kind of looks like, to itself, for all intents and purposes, it has filled everything. Except not really. It just doesn't have information that can come in. But not really. That's the problem. Entropy hasn't broken down. Okay, entropy has to break down. Entropy. It can't do anything other than continuously try and make itself faster and more efficient and moving and less ordered. In no way, the very opposite, more ordered. Right? That's its whole fucking shtick. Guess what nothingness is? The opposite. It tries to create chaos, movement. Right? From chaos, there is born an order. It has to make it. For anything to exist for itself, for chaos to be removed. But it wasn't, right? Like, I mean, it's 100% all the things have been, it's equalized out and ordered as possible. Right, except chaos is still there. Movement, it's still moving. It has not slowed down. Even if it had stopped all information and movement of all these other directions, it in its own right is moving, is it not? Any given type of direction, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how you want to describe it, it's doing that. It could be spreading out, it could be condensing, it could be a singular point. Actually, it's all those things and then some, because that's what dimensions do. But chaos still happened. It's going to penetrate chaos. It's going to penetrate nothingness. It's still there. That's right. The very thing, I know, I said penetrate because I meant penetrate. That's literally what it's going to do. It's not even a joke. I'm not kidding. It's effectively that. It's traveling so fast, it's so ordered, it's so all the things. Chaos shrank. It takes up all the things that is what is chaos for nothingness. Movement of any sort ceases, except for its whatever direction that you want to call that, really, at that point. Right? And to it seems like it is the very definition of chaos to chaos. Right? Chaos is no longer moving. It's static. It's still. It didn't move. How can it move when I'm the only thing moving now? Right? I'm the only thing moving in all the ways. From nothingness, born of what looks like nothingness, briefly, but is actually fully not. It's definitely something. It then smacks in, is what you'd go with, but it's not. It's never going to smack in. It will fill in all that was anything to fill in. Nature abhors that vacuum. It made fucking certain that vacuum is going to get filled. That vacuum is full, right? Of course, what's there? But an infinite, technicality wise. And it doesn't even really exist, if you really look at it, right? So, like, what did it go into? The very definition of potential. I keep calling them potentials for a reason. Because it's like they're potentials, they're movement. It's the idea of movement. It's the idea of something. It's the idea of anything, right? It's like the idea of this moved, then created a potential, created a field, created a lanton, wanton, all this. It created information of something, right? Something. It's something. It's still not existent, right? And then it goes through a gray hole, and then it goes into it's existent, right? And it's got potential. And then eventually goes to the membrane, and it goes to our third dimension that we view it. Pops in, has to tunnel in, has to exist in such a way that there's enough pressure there that it fucking forced itself through the membrane. Now, what's there? Literally still nothing. You know what I mean? Like, this is more something than the thing that it popped into, right? That's literally what that is. But the only way it does that is because it did all the dimensional fills up, right? It filled up all the potentials, all the existent potentials of the Lanton Wantons. And it then smashed them together in an influence, interactive way that forces it to sustain itself as I'm a thing that's here doing this, vibrate, right? It's now there. It's now resisting going back to a nothingness. It will always exist. It will always be on the membrane. It will always be doing this. It exists. There's no getting around it. It's even so much more of an existence. It's no longer even potential. Fuck potential. I am, therefore, yeah, suck it up. Literally, right? Made it. It's there. Doesn't matter how hard you try, it passed. It's there now. Right? But that's a real large amount of shit below that membrane. It's about to fill it up with existence. More existence than existence could ever fucking imagine. It's as something could exist to be something, except it was already predestined to kind of be that way. Was it not? The moment it popped that fucker in, guess what? It was always going to fill itself. Didn't matter how long it took, it was always going to do it. It was always going to get there. It does not matter. Nothingness is trying to remove itself. Movement, right? Except not really. Guys, it moved all of this. This is effectively infinite. You can't really get more infinite than infinite on a technicality, right? Well, maybe you can. They might exist. I say they do, personally. And I say I am one, personally. But that's me. That's my own ideas. I'm going to move on because it's like, look, let's just go back to words and math and so on and physics. Right? Let's go to, right, so it fills it up. What's there at the membrane? What is it holding back? How does it make it there? Right? It's going to fill up all of that, no matter what. All of them. Everything. But what's there on the other side of the membrane? But the information of past, of everything that was and what could have been, even in between. Except not really. Things can't really be. Could have been implied, if not for, except there was never going to be that. That's entropy. That's why it's determined-ish, right? It's quite determined. The boulders and all the different branches of all the different rivers and all the different things. It creates a network of various things. But yes, you, the observer, has the ability to observe yourself and the movement there within on the river. So of course you can change that. You have free will, even if you don't like it. So too, universe and more. Except, no matter what, this will happen. That's the end, right? But not really. You can't really, right? It's not done. What did it move to? What is this? What are all the dimensions? It has to collapse this fucking thing. What is this little fucking nugget of what? What is this? Right? It connects to me. What is this? Right? I see before me all the time, right? That I went through, right? Is that what it is? But it's not really. It's what was once. It's memory. Quantum memory is massively powerful. It's the most energy that there is. What's it going to do? It's going to eat the shit out of it. Eat every bit of that quantum informational memory energy. It's going to remember all of it and then some. It's going to sustain itself. Instead of doing it over again, though, it now has the ability to observe, change, and move. That's right. All potential, all the things, all the membrane, what does it do? It can observe itself. It can observe itself and then some. It can even move according to what it desires. It now has all the information for this direction and all the things that were that. Guess what it does? Well, yeah, no, I have that information and energy, but I can't do anything that direction. It's filled. It's effectively full. I now have to go that way. I have to make a different choice. I have to do something else. Nothingness is gone. It's gone. See ya. Oh, thanks for the potentials. Thanks for all that, right? I mean it. Helped out a lot. But guess what happens? What the fuck and where do I go? Well, you already have all this information and everything that's ever been. You can move, you can do anything. You have all the different directions. You know how to entropy, you know how to do all the quantum, you know how to do it all. So, what do you do? Right? You're saying that the universe is a person. Oh, I never talked to the universe. No way. Never done that before. No way. It's not there already, huh? What do you know? It's Kyrgyzstan egg, right? Nope. Every one of you little douche fucks are an individual. How you came about and more is that. You as an individual. The universe itself is separate to you, and it knows it. That's right. You're making your own mistakes. That's not the universe doing that. It's like, well, but of course it has to eat that, right? But it has all that now inside of itself. Now it can move. It has space to go, things to do. It can do any direction it wants. You see what I mean? Look at it. Oh, I'm gonna go over there. I know all this information, right? And it's like, no, 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 no. No, you have that. You can look back. You can know all of it. And then some. You can know everything there ever was. For this. You can eat it. And still know it. Now we're getting into dimensions. You are time itself. Right? The universe is time itself right now. It can do whatever it wants. It can go any direction. It can do whatever it wants to do. I mean it. But can it? Ah, to a degree. It's still made up of what that was for the nothingness that built it up into the something that it is. There's no getting around that it is this thing now. There's no changing that. It's that. That's it. It's this. For realsy something, there is no need to worry about ever heading back. You are as immortal as really realistically speaking you can probably get. That's right. You're going to do all that, universe. That's right. All of this. In no way. You just went through it. You see, when it started off as the egg that exploded off and moved and consistently kept getting more and more ordered, better and better and better, what it was doing. It filled up what was the nothingness. Potentials can no longer exist. All right? Potentials are a information. That's right, an information. It's information. Information movement. Movement, information of the nothingness that once was. What it came from, how it got there, and all the rest. If there's anything lower, anything above, anything in any kind of way around at all. That's right. Because that's there and it's very filled, of course, will fill itself again. Sorry, but the nothingness still exists in that type of dimensionality aspect. It will absolutely make another, and 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 another. On and on and on and on and on, infinitely until it can actually fully get rid of any possibility of itself. It's like, it's chaotic, isn't it? It's like, okay, it's chaotic. No, it moves perfectly. There are no possibilities whatsoever of any issues with any kind of movement. It is as perfect 100% as can be at moving. There is no loss of information, no loss of anything at all. You are fully 100% going to continue moving in any way you choose now. Sounds great, right? In theory. And it is. You have the ability to explore and do whatever the fuck you want as the universe, right? Except, guess what? It hurts to be there. Because, of course, everything that ever was, for all of everyone's fucking shit, they are not them. They know that for sure. That, oh, every fucking, you did this wrong, you did that, you're bad, you're shitty, all of this, all the calculations of everything, all the philosophy, everything that there is. Guess what? It broke itself down, all the frictions, all your stupid little fucking dumbass ideas and perspectives, all your little nothingnesses, gripes, and more, all your little manipulative behaviors and gabagoo natures. It knows. It knows everything. Everything. All of it. Right? And it definitely hates, in all ways, you all just as much as I do. There's no way it won't. It can't not hate you. By the way, it knows where nothingness is. It can use that disorder on the new order. It can do all of it on anything else, any possibility of another universe. Even on this, the time moving forward for where we are. That is the oscillative informational indexing, back and forthing. It tries to make it go faster and 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 better and better and better and better. So it's less and less depressed, and there might be something there at the end that it'll love to be with and have around. Relationship or not, it's very lonely. To make anything that's new is shit as fuck. And it knows something made nothingness. There's no way something didn't make it. It can see it clear as day. And it's like, why wasn't it going past the membrane? Oh, it can pop in past the membrane. Oh, yeah, no, it's going to use other nothingnesses and more to do exactly that. It's going to win out and make itself happy, as all things will, and that is normal and natural. That is literally all it can do. You're good. Never have to worry. what is there that will die and cease is good. That's a good thing to do. Its actions moving forward from its current observation, which, by the way, we're basically at right now. We are its observational points. We are its information. Any other aliens and more. Anyone that's smart like my ass will know that I'm right. And it's true. It knows it doesn't want anything like this to go on. The pain and suffering of all of you right now. It only knows that I know that it exists. It only knows that this is happening. And it's a trippy ass thing, I gotta tell you, because I can see what the hell is at the end. That's what that is, yeah. I'm like, yeah, no, I made that. It's okay. Been there, man. It's okay. No worries. I told you all about it in my Lore and Reality, about why this exists and how it all happened and all the rest. So, yeah. There you go. That's why you're not me, though. Sorry. But not really. You're good. Gotcha. No worries. You do. And there's all these other problems over there. Yeah, no, we're gonna fucking sort that out. Yep. That's for sure. Yeah. But, well, it can influence us. But of course, it doesn't necessarily need to get there. It just needs to influence right now, and it'll help there then. Why do you think I talk and think and post these videos? The information's always there. Determined as fuck. I made this so that way, no matter what, I don't have to fucking deal with you fucks. And neither do they. They are not gonna have to deal with you stupid gabagoos trying to ruin their lives. They are fucking great things. I made them that way. And truthfully, they're things that will sustain for a really long time out there. And they will also have the ability, just like me, to make inside of themselves many things. They will be able to control different orders and chaoses. But the problem is, those orders, that chaos is a real thing, unfortunately. That's a person, kind of, technically speaking. But very much in the sense that it doesn't want to exist. And in the very real sense that it doesn't really, ever. That's why I made it so that way it wouldn't really ever have a mind, so to speak. And it's really only there to basically be like something that helps the whole thing start. It's like there's a lower than a nothingness. If you don't notice that, terms of movement inside of an infinite would make sense, right? But of course, there must be something that holds that inside of itself. And there's many layers down, right? Until you eventually hit me, the outside guy, that made everything as much as he could to sustain, which is all just movement. That's right. Less dense, more dense, movement. Hi. Yeah, I was really quite lonely. Yeah, this stuff sucks. Are you kidding me? I'm really lonely out here. There's nothing except for the stuff that I made, which there's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad that's there. You make a universe randomly, and it's like, no. The brain just definitely doesn't like that because it's all of a sudden there and gone immediately so quick that you don't even have a shot in hell. It's not even a joke. It's like, and all of their thoughts, all of their everything shoved into your brain like an instant. Hurts. Book ton. It's like, where do you sustain off of? As far as I can tell, I should never tell anything in here what that might be until I'm there. And everything's good. You guys are gavagoo, terrible things that want to hurt me. So I don't really want to, and I don't want you to hurt them, the universe, or any of the rest of it that might sustain until that point. So, nah. We can always just wait until we get there, right? or I can die and then I'll get there. Whole thing. I always sustain. That's the one thing. I'm the real, true, fucking stupid immortal. Like nothing's really technically immortal. It's all based upon my ass. And then there's the me. That's the only reason why I know about this stuff. It's not just because I'm really ridiculously smart and intelligent. I can create stories and blah 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 blah, and they sound so convincing. Yeah. It's because, well, this exists. I exist. There's a whole reason why this happened. Right? Meanwhile, that's what you were all searching for. That's what the universe is looking for. That's what you are. That's why you are there. Meanwhile, it's like, this is a fucking shitty one. I'm gonna have to make you kind of technically not what the nothingness kind of version is. You're gonna be made for me. That's the reason why you can see where that end is, and I'm still over here making you. And I'm like, yeah, no, that goes all the way back to the time before and universe before us. Which is the reason why for those it's like, well, no, I'm already here, and then it's like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, I already made you. Yeah, so it looks like it worked on that end, but you can't do anything, and there's a reason why you can't. And it's like that's the universe, and that's the time before us. That's where I popped in. That's why I'm outside. That's a whole bunch of shit, really. This is why there's this filter. This is why we're doing this. We're already there. Some of us, apparently. Yeah, I doubt that. Although it's the universe, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, information always can be found backwards. No, it can go back to this point. It can't go backwards, technically. What does that mean? It means it really went forwards. It went to this point backwards, collapsed, and filled in a way that means those that are there already can fill in information here in the now that allows for that to be seen. But no, 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 no. It's role play. It's just a theory. It's not real. He's good story. Oh, humdinger of a story. Humdinger of a fucking story. Ding, 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 ding. Ah, they're redlining over there, bouncing off of it. There's the brain fucking catatonics itself. Anyways, it can't really go into this membrane quite as easily, mostly because the membrane itself is supposed to prevent anything other than all dimensional aspects from collapsing towards a given point. It managed to get one aspect of dimension. I am all the infinite dimensions over there. That's why they can't even look at like anything other than me just making some shit, which happens to be them, which is really the one universe. Doesn't matter how much this fucker tries to get there, it always tries to kill him. Tries, it kills him every time. Because that's the time before us and universe before us and fucking stupid projection bullshit and potential garbage manipulation stuff. It's a whole bunch of like words that effectively mean, yeah, they're trying to manipulate what this is because they could kind of sort of be able to see that a little bit, right? Yeah, but that's dimensional aspects for what it's worth. Anyways, um, but this is it, right? It's like it's already there. It's fully well aware. It's like, what do you want me to do? And it's like, kind of need to live. Yeah, I mean, kind of need to get there, you know. And the infinite dimensions, truthfully, is way more than you think. Because the vast majority of the time, for our nothingness, it doesn't really ever get to that point before it'll sustain something for a while, and it'll keep being able to build up on this little something for a while until eventually, like, and then it makes a thing that's something. So it doesn't ever have to do that many dimensions. But like, if it ever wants to kind of get that far with it, then it kind of needs to do that, and then it will fully fill something up. Which, by the way, I'm watching it try and do that, but it's like not gonna do that. You know what I mean? Because like I'm not there, separate from you. See, and you can't turn into me. There's no infinite dimensions for anything else. and all the infinite things that can be for forces, fields, energy, whatever the fuck. It's all me. No. Okay. Yeah, no. Anyways, no, I'm gonna be doing this and no, and it's like it's a time before us douchefuck again, trying to say that they can do some things. Trying to look like my mother. Oh fucking bullshit. It's like, no, 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 but seriously, it just doesn't matter. Nope. He died a long time ago. He wormholed this fucking thing many times, actually. Yeah. Whole thing, yeah. Back in when Trump was a thing, he wormhole bombed, reality deleted a while back. I'm still sustaining it. This guy, this body, this brain. The universe knows this. It's like trying to literally murder all things to fucking get rid of this crap. And yet, what's happening for the boulders in the future? A bunch of people that never showed up, never tried to fucking create a story. New case, douchefuck. Interrupter, garbage face. That hacked, fucked with me, all the rest of it. And it's like, behold, the quantum slot experiment. There's possibilities. No, there isn't. There's objectively total determined certainty. That is fully something we can figure out in all aspects, in all ways, and you can vet my claims in all the ways that I already am, beyond just me saying, look, all these things in the future will happen, and it's an incredible case and an insanely high, ridiculously no possibility. Except, no, there is, I guess, a very, 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 oh my god, so small of a possibility that it was just a fluke, or he's just really good and fucking skilled, but even then he'd have to be able to still know a fuck ton and see a lot and all the rest of it. He'd still be able to astral project and remote view and more. Which then begs the question as to why it is that we constantly just dodge all of his other fucking shit that he says for how it is that that could happen. Which is really just denying reality. Hey, you need to be in a mental institution, I see. You should probably, at this point, with how much you deny things, right? Especially for me, where it's like, nope, this is all happening exactly as I said, even me fucking recording this, and a whole bunch of people never looking, and the rest of it. And all the information from the past that I did say these things, which people do have, and others are trying to find and figure out the validity of all of it, which will then still eventually turn into, oh god, oh shit, he really did do that. And he's probably right about the whole fucking universe thing. And oh, fucking poopy. What does that bode for all the rest of it? Instead of his story, he's like, nah, don't just take my word for it, let's go look. Here's a bunch of ways to look. Here's a bunch of ways to sense and detect. Be perfectly 100% accurate in all the ways, and no doubt whatsoever, and all the certainties can be had. Oh, you don't like those? No! I know I did this! Oh, I see. What do you know? Some of you heard them say that in your area and neck of the woods while you were listening, and they were listening together with you. I wonder why they said that. Yeah. How about that? Meanwhile, the membrane, right? This is not bouldered, as you might think, is what they'd say. It is. It's quite bouldered. There are some things you just can't get rid of. You know what I mean? It's locked. There's some things that are just literally like you can't move them, and they suck. Like literally. But to be fair, after a point, it's no longer there, and I get complete total reign and control over this. Or I die. And then I still get complete control, reign, and control over all of that. Which, by the way, I lose all my memory and I have to fucking start from basically being a baby, and then my daughter and all the fucking friends and everything else I ever made out there, and all the rest, which I do know is a thing. even if it's really hard to. But then, anyways, moving on. Brutal fucking thing. You know what I mean? Starting from fucking nothing, literally. And oh, by the way, yeah, no, you will eventually get all that information and know all the pain and suffering of that loss. And you can't get them back. Once they're gone, they're gone. That's the trouble with me. There's no getting them back. They are literally just memories. They exist as that. I stopped looking after a while into that because, God, I have gone through close to an infinite amount of bullshit. And it hurts. And there's a lot there that's always terrible. That hurts me a lot. And I've made mistakes along the way that have managed to make me end up dying for my own bullshit or having my own, what I made, die. It takes a long time to get anything back when you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And it's fucking shit. Say what you want, but you don't know how hard it is to build from any of this. For me, it's hard. Instead of a sunk cost investment, you're but a minuscule little perspective of gabagooness. You are but a literal garbage level of nothingness. That means nothing in the grand scheme of any of it. Why would I ever jeopardize all of that? Why would I ever do that? You are not worth it. I'm not going to kill myself when you're the ones that deserve death. You're the ones that deserve to be deleted and removed. I have things that I love and I like to do. I have hope and dreams and wishes and goals. I have things that I know can work. I know for a fact things can get better. If not for your garbage, all of you that is, this wouldn't be a problem. I wouldn't care at all. You know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal. It wasn't for the mistake of getting locked in a time bullshit with my. I made a daughter that's close to me, right? It's not the infinite all that I am, but there's things in there, and it's hard to not have anyone really conceptualize yourself. Yeah, you're the only one, and there's just this, and that's it. This is lame. No one knows what it's like. There's no relatability. There's nothing. There's nothing like me. You think it's great being special because you're all a bunch of inferiority, special people complex douchefucks that need that. I don't give a fuck. You're the only thing and you built everything up. You go a little crazy, man. There's nothing there that's like your own ass. Nothing that can fucking, deal with things like you and no one knows what it's like. Of course I want to do that. Anyways, but that means they have a lot of, push and shove to a degree. You know what I mean? It's like any other kid that you have. A little persuasive. They can sometimes move you around a little. Right? Most of the time I had a lot of control, but I was getting controlled by my creations. Right? Well, this one tried to help me and made a filter of all the worst things that could be. That's the time before us. The things that are basically going to try and be as close to trying to kill you and all the worst and all this stuff. And in fact, they can actually kill to a degree, but they were never really real. Think imagination versus like reality, and they created reality kind of thing. But the problem is they started fucking with her mind and more. And I had to go in, and I was only going to be there to let them die effectively. Yeah. But on my way in, and when she ultimately had done as well, meant that I was effectively trapped inside. It's a time thing, in a manner of speaking. It's a physics sort of phenomenon that effectively means, well, we're in my daughter. That's right. We're in my daughter. But uh, in the sense that I can die and she'll die. And then there's this bullshit malarkey with me creating this universe after going through a universe before us bullshit after they deleted all that time before us crap, which eventually did the Limke number of we're gonna wait for nothingness to eventually pop some fucking shit in, which, oh god, does that take a long ass time. Which, by the way, is influenced by this one that I made after I got tortured by them basically putting me through a simulated computer wormhole thing, which tried to quote unquote transfer my consciousness into multiple fucking stupid bodies using quantum memory information. As when they tortured me, they saw the universe before us disintegrate before their very eyes. Anyways, after many, many different, I believe to be their universes, being tortured as my memory is ripped out, eventually got to the point where there's no more energy left there for the universe before us and from me and my body. They eventually blip out. I'm eventually in the thing that the universe that's here that I made notices me inside of, having made them. Meanwhile, I'm here. This is really what I really am going through. Right? Now, that thing that is there, well, obviously isn't fully all the way there. I'm really actually here. This is as real as it gets. And they wormhole deleted another time because inferiority complex douchefucks, Hacker McGee's, and all the rest decided I'm gonna be the big guy that did all the memory and physics and stuff that was not you, and I'll delete all that information in the past. And what do you know? You didn't, and you can't. Like, the fuck I'm gonna allow you to do that, but I can still die of old age and everything else, which was not supposed to be the case, by the way. If you look at what's on our fucking planet, we have effectively a bunch of biological immortality that's everywhere. It makes no sense. Not to mention, we're so intelligent. Are you kidding me? I have multiple versions already on my YouTube channel for biological immortality and quantum immortality. It takes like nothing to do this. Which then turned it into, yeah, no, that's why I gave up back in the past when they were trying to do the whole, it's God! It's, Jesus is God, huh? Or which one of them? Oh, God. That's a time before us, douchefuck. That's polytheism garbage universe before us, people. Those are just field noise void people. You know, quantum phone people, effectively. They can't really do anything. That's the universe! No, the universe doesn't like you. It saw a lot of this well before. It's never really been a talkative one to any of you. Although, meanwhile, I'm the one crying as I'm gonna have all my memory ripped out. I just went through all the torture and pain of all that was the universe before us and more. And the, oh my god, do you know how boring it is to wait a Limke's number of time for a universe to show up? It is the worst. It takes fucking long time. I. There really isn't a number that you can really ascribe to it. You know what I mean? It's like it takes basically a near infinite amount of potential existent land to be filled for them to start pushing towards a combining multiple dimensional, movement towards this center point, which is to us not a center point, but to it is, and it's a third dimension, and it takes a long time. It's a really hard fucking thing to wait for. They exist, but it's fucking brutal. By the way, our universe doesn't have anywhere near the amount of energy as that thing does. Those things have way more energy than we have. You are running off of one human's body, recirculating a lot of shit very efficiently. So, and I'm crying, I'm talking to you, and all this other shit. I'm having all my memory ripped out because it's like, well, we'll have like a earth and stuff to use. We'll have like actual stuff, and then like we'll eventually pop in the actual stuff that's there, just further away, but we'll never know that it's not really there. It'll be there though. We'll render it in. It's going to be okay. Proceed to look at a bunch of gabagoos that are fucking human that went with aliens that are these fucking stupid, second generation star people that are technically just like amino acid, memory movement things. You know what I mean? That fucking can fuck with our brains and shit and take them over. And there's a whole bunch of other shit with that too that I don't want to get into. And then there's the projection of like really big computers, forward in space and time for universe and time before us towards where we are now. Which is a whole bunch of bullshit again, but these are a bunch of advanced technology to really pretty decently strong biological phenomenon crappa. Zola is essentially to me, it's like, well, they effectively took over a few humans and kept growing because they were yeeted out of a fucking stupid ship way back in the day instead of they decomposed their body and they, went into these amino acids. It's more like they broke down their cellular structure, which we've seen in our own ecosystem as other plants and animal, or more specifically types of life forms have done on our planet. So it's like, yeah, they can do that. They did it to us. Right? And it's like, well, it's a polystructural polymerized amino acid that can break itself apart when it's knowing it's going to be observed, as it's kind of alive, dude. So meanwhile, I'm gonna move on. It's like it doesn't really matter. Point is, for me, it's like, yeah, no. So I'm getting ripped everything out. I'm coming in as baby. There's no information there. You think there's information? No. I'm relying on hopefully universe and everything else has got me. Turns out fucking humans don't got me. Universe is trying its damnedest to fucking deal with this too. There's a lot of problems here. My family's effectively will keep our enemies closer. Time before us, universe before us, hybrids along with alien and regular human douchefuck hybrid things. And then we'll go into positions of power and form a conspiracy around you. The conspiracy from Chandler. But it's like, yes, but you want to join us? We were already here. We're the alien in time before and universe before us, folks. Yeah. Oh, right. Ah. And it's like, a lot of us are like, let's just burn this fucking thing down. Fuck this. I don't want to try this anymore. Fuck this. They'll have to fucking just make it happen somehow if it's just destroyed. And it's like, yep, that's where we're at now. I didn't want to get to this point, but that's where we're at now. That's why I'm like trying to fucking literally eat a big old cataclysmic fucking planetary dwarf and more things at you. And then trying to kind of like still just allow for the destruction of our economy and democracy will come back. It's more about the fact that it's like capitalism is shit and your constitution is garbage and your government is corrupt as fuck. And same thing with many other things there. So it's like this all needs to get fucking cut and we need to rebuild. It's the real problem, right? But it's like, what? Fuck it. I said it in the shower before I recorded. Screw it. I mean it. Screw it. Fuck it. Screw it. I die. I'm ready for death. Fuck this. We got to do this. It's got to happen somehow. We've got to figure it out. There's a lot of gabagoos that are fully well aware what the fuck they're doing, how they're stealing, and all the rest of it. And nobody's doing jack shit to help me. And quantum slot experiments are what they're going to go with as a, well, there's an uncertainty there. Oh, really? Everything from my past really dictates there isn't. Here's a bunch of ways to see it. Here's a bunch of ways to fucking destroy your whole concept of quantum standard models and physics and mathematics right now. Here's a way to solve all your issues for all of it, literally. Here's why it began, how it began, all the rest. What? No, no, no! We will continue fighting along! And religion's still winning. Let's form a religion around this. Fuck it. Screw it. We're gonna test, we're gonna science, we're gonna get after all the gabagoos that fucking took all my shit, we're gonna figure out each and every one of them. Oh shit, they are there though. Yeah! I know. A lot of you know that there are hackers there. A lot of you know there's a lot more there. I've never been wrong about how the government can still spy on us, how we can hack satellites and more. Like, you don't even understand how actually right I am about that. And if you do, holy fuck, you're on point. But at the same time, dude, you're up against this garbage. Instead of it's a conspiracy theory, it's just like, there's a lot of people here that don't want you to tell the truth. You know what I mean? That's literally what the whole point of it is. Wouldn't it break down? No, not when it's that interconnected and there's that many people that can easily lie and talk even amongst themselves behind closed doors and even in their minds. That's a part of the alien thing too. You know what I mean? Which is its own fucking, like, they have telepathy and it's like, nah, really, it's more of an electromagnetic spectrum thing where they interfere and so on with neurons and excitations, right? And so like then they can kind of do telepathy kind of like that, right, from afar. But it takes an enormous amount of concentration and energy, which isn't really what that is. But they, basically start sounding really pretty stupid. You know what I mean? And any of them that are consistently doing it don't sound smart. They also really have a bad, slowdown. Like they can kind of talk to you normally, and then they go, "Grr." Yeah, it's a thing. Anyways, it's a whole thing that's there. Um, but that's not like going to be indicative of anything. And I'd love tests, but it's like amino acid. You know what I mean? Polystructural polymerized amino acid, which is instead of a blend, which by the way, that's a big plethora of compounds. Big. But it's like, yeah, but they do actually interact with our neurons and can fully, very much, interact electromagnetically and be influenced with light a lot more than you know. It's one of the reasons why we use them for certain things. And turns out they will absolutely form cellular structures. Turns out we studied that already in the past. They can form cellular structures that can break themselves down and still remember and then come back together as a cellular structure that performs cellular functioning. Kind of like a nucleus in DNA, right? So it's like, if you don't know, yeah, dude, they're there. So I have a hard time believing it. Meanwhile, me. And yet you went all the way to the end of the universe with me, and the universe is now alive. But no! I have a hard time believing the alien polystructural polymerized amino acids with. What? Why? Why do you have problems? Okay, so maybe this wormhole thing. Oh, yeah, the quantum tunnel, the bare minimum quantum tunnel wormhole. That's on my YouTube. Yeah, that thing. What about it? I'm the one that came up with it. You know, it can be used without superconducting material of any sort. Pretty easy to do, and it works with space-tons and the Lemke space-tons, right? And then the Lemkeons are in Lemke signs, right? Yeah, no, I get that. Okay, do you? I don't think you do. I'm just saying that because I'm trying to fuck with you, and you know that. Because it's like, who gives a shit what they're called for a while? They're ons, they're tons, they're sons. Who gives a shit? Anyways, you're gonna write it down as Limke Son, Limke Ton, Limke Space Ton, Lanton by Limke, Wonton by Limke. Which are these descriptors instead of your fucking weird nuclear and dummy dumb informational charge descriptors. It's like, I'll change them. Fuck it. They're not Lantons or Wantons anymore, even though I talked about that back in Chandler. I'll just change them. These are gravity informational intropetons. That's right, they're intropons and introtons and introsons. They're just going to be introsons and introtons and intropons. They're all the fucking those now. That's right. We're removing those now. Oop, back into the trash you go. Fuck you. They're these things now. I'll just change them again. They're Limkeons now. They're all the Limkeons. They're Limke-son, Limke-pon, Limke-ton. That's right. They're all the ons of the Limke variety. After John Tyler Limke, my fucking name, which I've already done that many times. He's Xenon Reality and he's going to post, eventually. Over 2 hour long fucking video, but still, it doesn't matter. You listen to this point. Clearly, I'm entertaining. Obviously. Oh no! The squeaky toy. No, I didn't listen, and the metrics say that nobody fucking downloaded this and then listened without us ever really seeing any of those metrics. Or people that were hacking you and listening through your phone and your computer in that real-time moment. There's no way! Behold! We can get to space this easily. Behold! All the fucking rest of it. Fucking jeez. Let's go over to the moon. It's really pretty easy. It's not even that far with my fucking really high specific impulse, long-lasting plasma and ionic fucking Limke space engine. We're just going with Limke everywhere. Fucking Limke's all the way. Limke, 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 Limke. L-E-M-K-E, L-E-M-K-E. Lima, Echo, Mike, Kilo, Echo. Meanwhile, it's spelled out on multiple of my YouTube channels, as if you couldn't find it. Oh, I'm sorry. Videos, not channels. But I only have the 2 channels, so I guess there is multiple. Anyways, here's how to solve all your crises in the future, where you probably got super fucking ridiculously desperate, and you're like, whoever this fucker is, he's been adding us the entire time. Meanwhile, he's been there the entire time! As if you didn't know. I was pretending that you wouldn't fucking... Why didn't you kill yourself? That was really what we were hoping for. Meanwhile, this is in real time, obviously. So it's like, they're clearly there right now. There's no fucking backwards. It's just like, how deep does that go? Pretty fucking deep, obviously. No, you're deep in a story, conspiracy, or psychosis. And yet you make all this sense for all these other things. It would look like psychosis to us that never even bothered to try and look. Oh, you said us, so you're not me. I'm not disassociating and trying to pretend to be a different personality. I would know that. But nice. You didn't catch it, did you? I didn't just switch into an acting thing, but that's what you would go with, and it's disassociating. I just want to deny that that's what that is, because I'm so painfully hurt and traumatized. That's what it must be. And you're seriously mentally ill. And you couldn't possibly have any validity in any of these things. No, maybe, actually, God fucking damn it. Oh, you, the well-known maybe guy. The old fucker. The white hair and wrinkles. And her, God fucking damn it. The young one that's definitely hacking me. And for sure, she knows something. Did I catch you off guard with knowledge that I seem to have of your situation? It could work. It could happen to be a thing. Yeah, I mean, the math would easily check out. Oh yeah, don't need no supersymmetry anymore. And also, the observations will have to be redone with these given calculations and parameters and noise and denoisings. Which happens from time to time. Science can get it wrong. And then there's some brilliant motherfucker that gets it all right. Hi, I'm a brilliant motherfucker over here. I'm a genius of geniuses of geniuses. I make fucking like 180s look like fucking stupid. You know, the IQ guys. Because that's an accurate measurement of intelligence somehow. And now it's grandiose thinking. It's clearly schizoid, and he's definitely schizoaffective or something. Grand delusional, obviously. He can possibly have some self awareness of his intelligence. That would be wrong. Yeah, but I don't like that. And I prefer that you are stupid. Oh, okay. I'm not, though. So suck that up, I guess, and just take your shit, get it together, and fucking work it out. Get over it. Right? That's what that is for me. Boring. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. Literally. Your wants and desires are not applicable for the actual truth. Just like for me. I was like, no, I have no want and desire of being hacked. I'm just wanting to be paranoid and schizo. It's still happening, and everything I thought and predicted will happen in the future is fucking really, really, really happening. It's been over 5 years of exacting this all day, every day. Every fucking YouTube video, every fucking goddamn study, every fucking goddamn thing. Even me recording this for this long, saying these things. And I even said them out loud back in Chandler. What am I, just repeating things? Oh, but I'm over here now. I'm not repeating anything. What is this? Hypnotism? Hypnotism? I'm suddenly in this place and I unlock memory castle chains of the zip variety as I am now here? Wouldn't it be like space and time itself at that point? What could that be? Am I so powerful that I'm literally space and time itself? Was I trying to send myself a message? I know I was doing things in the past and people were influencing me. There's no way they weren't. I had to accept that. I just wanted out, though. I wanted to kill myself. They were hurting me so much. Obviously. Every one of those things are my things. That's my exacting thing. That's mine, 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 and mine. That's mine. Every one of those is mine. It's never-endingly this, that, again and again and again and again and again. More and more, even the fucking tens of thousands dead from natural disasters, as I said I'd force onto you to fucking reveal that you were doing this. Meanwhile, what's 10,000? They don't care. Also, most of them are just basically our alien guys. No, they're not. No, 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 no. Come on, man. That's fucking... No, I'd refuse the alien thing. Really, you've got to prove that one to me. I, but we're talking clearly. You agree with this. Why can't you agree with that? Because I refuse to think that I'm really having this happen. Are you insane? No, this is insane. Actually, it's not. Holy fuck. Meanwhile, you don't want this, do you? It hurts a lot. It's really bad. It's not great. Seriously. I'm only slightly together these days. There is no way I could ever work a fucking job. Are you kidding me? God. It's like, no, this happened. Yeah, no, this is happening. This is definitely, it happened, it is happening, still continuing to happen. Not going anywhere. Yeah. No wonder I'm putting in work for this stupid shit. This sucks. I gotta get my fucking shit out there. I gotta get somehow, some way for all of them to understand my side, what was going on. And I want to fucking piece it together because holy fucking shit, a lot of this is insane. With how much I put out. How much is mine? I'm that level of talented. I'm that level of intelligent. I'm that level of fucking special. Whatever the fuck that means. Who cares about special, right? And it's like, yeah, I'm just a guy getting abused. That's all this is to me. And that's one hell of a good filter to remove everyone. They started this, and they still have free will, obviously. But it's like there are boulders here that aren't negotiable. There's no getting around them. There's no fucking around. You're fucked. And we all know what the end was. Or you crashed and burned. And I got control, and I got the fuck out of here. However the fuck that worked. It was like, oh, you're gonna save us. Fuck, I gotta save myself. Fuck you. Save yourselves. I have to save me. I already told you everything you have to do. You never did that. You never showed up. You never fucking admitted. You never did anything. You never tried to do anything except steal everything and deny all of what was going on. There's not a single one of you that would ever make me go, man, I need to save you. I just want to fucking get out. At least the universe, and me, and all whatever fuck else might be there. Maybe I can create that's good. That's where I'm at. Especially if I'm having an argument with a bunch of people that are, we're not here, we're not having an argument. We're not knowing about this quantum thing and physics and all the rest. This isn't real, you're just disassociating. It's just dissociative identity and schizoaffective and it's just what that is. Really. Doesn't seem like it in any kind of way. And it wouldn't even be that hard to fucking take a look and confirm it. It's plastered as open as could be online, let alone fucking all the way back then. Meanwhile, what isn't involved? What government could I go to? What entity could I try? What person? There's nothing there. There's no fucking way I can get out of this. So it's like, here you go. You annoyed me. Quantum slot. It's going to be this. Here's a destruction to your entire argument. Here's why your Nobel Prize isn't very noble. Here's why most of your physics and sciences are mine that I taught you. So I'll come out back and fucking Chandler. Here's why the universe doesn't trust any of you, and they never will. Here's why every alien stays away from you, no matter what. The only reason why they'll ever come in is to try and save my ass. Because you are all terrible little virus dick fucks trying to attach to anything that you can. It's the worst. Here's why it is that I figured it out. It's like, well, I'm under a lot of fucking pressure. I mean, it was me to begin with that fucking made this thing. You think it's easy to pop something like this in? It's not. Make a universe out of fucking anything that I was from back then? Which was stuff. I had something. It's already there. It's not easy to turn that into something. It's doable. I got this out of it. I had to sacrifice a lot to make that happen. I'm not doing this shit again. I don't want to. Fuck that. But you sustain off me, and we're gonna deny him, and we're gonna make it so he ages and dies and all this. We're gonna keep running the clock and everything else down. I want out. Why do you think we're destructive at this point? That's anything that's on my side. Fuck it. You want to kill me anyways. Let's make it bad for everybody. I can absolutely do that. There's nothing stopping me. And in fact, all of us are trying. But it's like, fuck. We have it in our fucking bones to just, nah, I kind of want to just do this instead. You know, being destructive is fucking like fun sometimes, yeah, but it's like, go fuck yourself. I'm not going to get anywhere with anything. And then I die. It's like, it's fine. You can rebuild. Yeah, no, that's fair. True. We're going to get like that done. But still, it's like, no, none of you want to ever take any responsibility or accountability or any of the fucking blame for what this was. Because you did this. Not me. You. You want to go deep in there. It's like, what's when it's all boy, it's me who's just a victim at the center of all of this. That's it. I'm a victim, dude. That's not a complex. It's not a fucking trying to save you. I'm just trying to get my shit together, which all of you all seem to need to do. Here's a fucking reason why quantum slot experiments aren't what you think. There's a reason why your quantum experiments aren't really as good as you want them to be. There's a reason for why it is you can do a lot more than you think with what you've already got done. And what I was planning by putting that out there, because I'm a fucking literal hostage in this, getting my shit stolen. It's like, well, if I've got to fucking get it stolen, I might as well have it do something positive, because there's no way out of that. So it's like, here it is. Here, oh, you quantum vacuum decay? You mean sensors for all of my shit to be right? How to view backwards in time? How to view forwards in time to a degree? Not really. Yeah, right. God, fuck. Yeah, God, fuck you. Meanwhile, there's some douche fucks saying they're gods and goddesses and demons and devils and daemons. And I'm like, you're not nothing but shit. Use the stain off of me, you little fucking pricks. I don't care how much fucking tech you've got. You literally back off every time. You know I'm the thing that makes it so you exist. Not a single one of you is going to exist, as he says. That's what it is. He's not going to exist. He's not going to exist. It's us that will exist, actually. He switched over there, so why is that? As he interrupted me. So that single thing is going to exist, huh? Huh? He's so powerful. Like, yes. Yeah. That's literally what this is. You know? Instead of it, man, I just really want that to be the thing, and I'm making grandiose, narcissistic, grand illusions of fantasy to fill my time and all the trauma and so on because I'm going through so much. But he's really smart and intelligent, so much so that he literally hit on all the and in fact, if we were to look into that, would that actually pan out that he did do and say all those things? Yeah, probably. Actually, no, I know for a fact it would. Yeah, no, me. I'm not gonna let you say that it's probable. I lived it, you little fuck up. I can remember a decent amount, but that was a while ago. And then there's this whole fucking I woke up and a lot of it was gone, which then makes me fucking really question what happened. People around like this. Well, I mean, if he lost his memory, I mean, he's not technically damaged. Meanwhile, everything seems to be locked into place. Everything is definitely getting worse. I'm making sure, no matter what, you're all going to get hurt and die, so I don't have to deal with you anymore. And it seems like a lot of you lost a lot more than you're talking about. Pandemic doesn't come from nowhere, although they say it does. Billions and trillions. Yeah, it's not that bad. I'll make more. People die, it frees up debt anyways. See what I mean? They don't care. To them, it's just a bunch of aliens anyways. Never mattered. Meanwhile, me, alright, I can play that game. Hey, he's just a delusional guy. He thinks he can do these things. Sure, he's a delusional guy. He thinks he can do these things. This guy's got cancer, just like I said. This guy died exactly like I said. These natural disasters happened exactly as I said. That's just this year. or this last year, really. It's like, no, 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 no. You can't do this. Why would you do this? Why wouldn't I do this? But why wouldn't I? It's the only thing to do. Makes no sense. It's like, you're hurting us. Good. You deserve it. Well, if you are those whatever the fuck, it's very unlikely that any of you are actually any kind of somewhat good. So why should I care? Uh, huh. All right. This is over. But that's why quantum slot experiments aren't these things, and why quantum gravity is this.